I never imagined my older sister, Claire, would be the one to completely cut me off. We'd been close growing up, sharing clothes, secrets, and late-night talks in the dark when one of us couldn't sleep. But things changed when she got engaged to Mark. Mark wasn't a bad guy at first, quiet, polite, always with a firm handshake. But over time I noticed how he subtly took digs at me. Jokes about my job, comments about my apartment. At first I brushed it off. Maybe he was just awkward. Claire became more distant too. Phone calls got shorter, texts less frequent. Then one day, out of nowhere, I got a short message. "Hey, just so you know, you're not invited to the wedding anymore. It's better this way." I thought it was a joke. I called her immediately. She didn't pick up. I texted again, asking what happened. Hours later, she replied, "Mark and I just think it's best. Don't make a big deal out of it." Best for who? I couldn't wrap my head around it. We talked about this wedding for months. She'd asked me to be a bridesmaid. We'd gone dress shopping together. I'd already paid for my dress. I tried calling our parents, but they were vague. Mom said Claire needed space. Dad told me to let her do her thing, and that weddings bring out the worst in people. I didn't know whether to cry or scream. Instead, I just shut down. Weeks passed without a word from her. I saw Facebook posts from mutual friends talking about the wedding plans, and it was like watching someone else's life through a window I wasn't allowed to open. Then one afternoon, I bumped into one of Claire's bridesmaids at the grocery store. She hesitated before speaking, then blurted out, "Look, Claire uninvited you because Mark didn't want you there. He thinks you'd steal the spotlight." I almost laughed. Me? Steal the spotlight? I wasn't the glamorous one. Claire was always the one with the perfect hair, perfect smile, the life everyone envied. But apparently Mark saw me as some sort of threat. That night I sat on my couch and stared at the bridesmaid dress still hanging in my closet. I thought about donating it, burning it. Anything to stop it from mocking me every time I opened the door. I didn't know it then, but this wouldn't be the last I'd hear about that wedding. The next time Claire called me, it wouldn't be to apologize. It would be to beg. A month before the wedding, I got a call from an unknown number. I almost didn't answer, but curiosity got the better of me. "Hey, it's me." Claire's voice came through, strained and hesitant. I froze. "Oh, so now I'm allowed to hear from you?" She sighed. "Please don't start. I need to talk to you. Can we meet?" Every part of me wanted to hang up, but the mix of desperation and embarrassment in her tone made me pause. I agreed to meet at a coffee shop near my apartment, somewhere public where I could walk away if I wanted to. When I walked in, Claire looked nothing like the glowing bride I'd imagined. Her hair was frizzed, her makeup minimal, and her eyes carried deep shadows. She fiddled with her cup, not meeting my gaze. "Mark's family is impossible," she started. "They're demanding changes, making everything about them. They even want me to change my dress because his mother doesn't like the neckline." I kept my voice flat. "And this concerns me, how?" She winced. "I made a mistake uninviting you. Mark said some things, and I let him convince me you'd make the day about you. But now I just want someone on my side." The audacity almost made me laugh. She had tossed me aside when it was convenient, and now she wanted me back as her emotional support? I sipped my coffee slowly. "So you're not apologizing because you hurt me. You're asking for help because you need me." Her cheeks flushed. "I am sorry. Mark has been so controlling lately. I don't even know if I want to marry him anymore, but it's too late. Everything's paid for and the invitations are sent." That was the first time I heard her voice tremble. Claire had always been so sure of herself, so confident. Seeing her like this was unsettling. I couldn't ignore the fact that she had made her choice when she uninvited me. She had taken Mark's side over mine. "I'm not sure I want to be part of this anymore," I said finally. "You didn't just hurt my feelings. You humiliated me in front of our entire family." Her eyes welled up, and for a moment, I thought she might walk out. But she stayed, biting her lip before whispering, "Please, I can't do this without you." I didn't give her an answer that day. I told her I'd think about it, but deep down, I knew whatever decision I made would have consequences. Not just for me, but for her entire wedding, and something told me. The drama was only just beginning. 2 weeks later, I finally decided I'd attend the wedding. Not for Claire, not for Mark, but for myself. I wanted to witness this train wreck in person. When I arrived at the rehearsal dinner, the tension in the air was so thick you could slice it. Mark's mother was barking orders at the caterers. His father was scowling in the corner, and Claire. She looked like a deer caught in headlights. The moment she saw me, her shoulders dropped in relief. "You came," she whispered, almost like she didn't believe it. Mark, on the other hand, didn't look thrilled. His fake smile barely hid the irritation in his eyes. "Oh, you made it," he said, before turning his attention elsewhere. That night I caught snippets of conversations. Mark's friends joked crudely about his last night of freedom, while his relatives complained about the seating arrangements. Even the bridesmaids seemed exhausted, rolling their eyes every time Mark spoke. On the wedding day, chaos started before the ceremony. The hairstylist was late, the florist delivered the wrong flowers, and Mark's mother had a meltdown over the table linens. Claire was pacing the bridal suite, muttering under her breath, and I could see the cracks forming. When the ceremony finally began, it was beautiful on the surface. Guests smiled, music played, and Claire walked down the aisle like a vision. But then, Mark smirked during his vows. Instead of saying something heartfelt, he made a joke about how Claire finally learned to do things his way. Some guests chuckled awkwardly, but I saw Claire's jaw tighten. The reception was worse. Mark hogged the microphone during speeches, making sarcastic comments about Claire's over-the-top wedding ideas. At one point, he even mocked the way she cried during the ceremony. I could see her trying to keep it together, but when he spilled champagne on her dress and laughed, something in her snapped. She stood up, clinking her glass for attention. "You know what? I think we should cut the cake now before I change my mind about this marriage." The room went dead silent. Mark's face turned red, but before he could respond, Claire grabbed my hand and dragged me outside. Her voice shook, but her eyes burned with determination. "I can't do this. Not another second. Not all calling it off right now." Leia, and in that moment I realized she wasn't just uninviting me from her wedding months ago. Was about to uninvite Mark from the rest of her life. Claire didn't hesitate. She marched back into the reception hall, still holding my hand so tightly it felt like she was drawing strength from me. The guests, mid-bite or mid-drink, paused in confusion as her heels clicked sharply against the polished floor. She headed straight for the microphone at the front of the room, her veil slightly askew, her bouquet abandoned somewhere along the way. "Thank you all for coming," she began, her voice calm, but carrying a quiet authority that silenced the chatter. "But there's been a change of plans. This marriage, it's over before it starts." The words seemed to freeze time. Gasps erupted from one side of the room, while an uncomfortable shuffle swept through the other. A fork clattered to the floor. Someone whispered, "Is this a joke?" But Claire's expression made it clear it was not. Mark pushed himself up from his seat, his face an alarming shade of red. "Claire, what the hell are you doing?" he barked, storming toward her. She didn't flinch. She yanked the mic slightly away from his grasp. "I'm ending a mistake," she said, her voice now sharp enough to cut glass. "You've belittled me in front of our families, mocked me during our vows, and treated this like one big comedy routine. I won't spend my life being your punchline." A ripple of murmurs swept through the crowd. Mark's mother shot to her feet, her voice shrill. "I have never been so embarrassed. Do you have any idea what this will look like?" his father muttered. Something about dramatic women under his breath, shaking his head. Claire ignored them completely. She slipped the wedding ring from her finger with deliberate slowness and placed it on the cake table, as if it were nothing more than a useless trinket. "This is over," she said again with finality. "And for the record, everyone here can keep eating. It's all paid for. Think of it as a free party." Some guests froze, torn between politeness and the sudden shift in atmosphere. Others awkwardly began filling plates at the buffet, while a few of Claire's bridesmaids exchanged knowing looks. Almost relieved this moment had finally come, Mark stepped closer, his voice low and dangerous. "We'll talk about this outside." Claire stepped back. "Don't touch me. Don't follow me. I'm done letting you control the narrative. This is my ending." She turned to me, her voice softening just enough to be heard by only us. "Can you drive me home?" We walked out together, the heavy double doors swinging shut behind us, muting the chaos inside. Outside, in the cool evening air, Claire exhaled a laugh that was half relief, half disbelief. Best wedding I've ever ruined, and it was mine. In the weeks that followed, she moved into her own apartment, blocked Mark on every platform, and started therapy. Her once quiet social media slowly filled with pictures of hiking trails, brunch dates, and a rescue dog she named Charlie. The light in her eyes was back. Mark, from what I heard, tried to spin the story his way, claiming she had snapped under stress, but it didn't work. Too many guests had seen what really happened, and the whispers around town weren't kind to him. Looking back, I realized my presence that day had nothing to do with supporting her wedding. It was about being there at the moment she took her life back. And that, in my book, was worth every awkward second.